Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our round 23 review for the dearly departed Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford, Brentford are our teams. Those very, very clever clubs that got promoted on my watch in the Championship, and we talk about them every week still on the channel. Pretty good week for the dearly departed. We don't normally get 2 wins, 2 draws and a defeat, but we do have this week. We'll get into that imminently. Let's just say a big thank you to Simon Coyle, who is our fan sponsor. Great guy, Simon. Got involved on patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. This will always be free on YouTube here, but you can support the channel via Patreon. Like Simon has done, 25 years as a Bees fan. Finally, the bus stop in Hounslow in the Premier League. But they are our one team that lost this week, unfortunately, Simon. But for the greater good, I'm sure you're happy. And for the greater good, you're sponsoring our show. So thank you very, very much. There are Premier League scores. Brighton 1, Palace 1. Man City 1, Chelsea 0. I mean, that might be the end of the title race, but there you go. Burnley and Leicester postponed. And here is our first game. Then Newcastle 1, Watford 1. It was Norwich 2, Everton 1, Wolves 3, Saints 1. And the other 3 are ours as well. Villa 2, Man United 2, Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. West Ham 2, Leeds 3 on Sunday. Spurs and Arsenal postponed. So plenty to get into and some good results for the dearly departed. Let's go and let's start as ever with our highest ranking team, which this week is Aston Villa. And it was Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 2. Get your views in the comments on this one. On the surface of it, you look at it and you think Manchester United, big, huge club. 2-2, you'll take that. Especially given Villa were 2-0 down in this one. But I don't know. I think both sides were coming away from this kind of thinking, I don't know, did they have the better of it? We'll have a look at the goals and we'll have a look at the numbers and you can tell me in the chat. Certainly Manchester United manager Ralph Rangnick thought it was 2 points dropped. But looking at certain information, maybe the second United goal was slightly against the run of play. Anyway, the big story here as well, Phil Coutinho off the bench and scoring on his debut as well. Why was he on the bench? Well, easing his way in, and because this was the first team for the Villa. Martinez in goal. Lucas Digne makes his debut as well at left fullback. Cash, Mings and Konza. Feels a bit ruthless on Matt Targett because for about the last, I don't know how long, season and a half, we've been going through Cash, Konza, Targett and Mings, but maybe not anymore. And Dean will be the first choice left back. In midfield, Sanson, Louise and Ramsey. He's going to star again today. I think got man of the match as well on Sky. Watkins, Ings and Buendia. So those questions we asked when Stevie Gerrard took over Villa. What system is he going to use to utilise the forwards? It's always a conversation, isn't it? Do you go squad over philosophy or philosophy over squad? He's got his philosophy, he's got his 4-3-3 and he's making his players fit that, even if that does mean Buendia, who normally plays down the right, is playing down the left. Look, I mean, they're inverted wingers, aren't they? You could literally switch those two over, Watkins and Buendia. Inverted inside forwards, if you prefer a more modern terminology there. For Manchester United, De Gea in goal. They mess around with their fullbacks a lot, don't they? There's Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, but there's also Dalot and Telles that played in this one. Lindelof, Varane, Fred, Matic, Greenwood, Fernandes. A start for Elanga and Cavani up top. So obviously some big names not there. Namely, right down the middle of the team, Maguire, Pogba and Ronaldo. So I don't know. Is that a mitigating factor in the performance or the result? You tell me in the chat. Here come the goals. And we've been full of praise for the longest time for Emi Martinez, but we try and be balanced and call it as it is on this channel. It's a really bad mistake by Martinez in goal, and look, he acknowledged it. He knows. I don't really know what happened. It's probably just Cavani getting in his eye line, although that normally wouldn't be an issue for a keeper of his quality. They take the free kick quickly. Look, Fernandes is miles out. He's on an angle as well. But look, it's all about Martinez, isn't it, rather than anything else. It's 9 times out of 10, it's an easy shot to save, an easy catch. And he bends down and his legs are apart and he fumbles the ball and it goes through, underneath, whatever you want to say. And on 6 minutes, Manchester United lead. Hauser replaces Konza on 46. And will we put it up? No, we won't actually. The attack momentum graph I've got pretty much says that from, I don't know, around, have I got a minute up there? I'm guessing here, 35 minutes through to the end of the game, Villa were sort of in the ascendancy and piling forward. But, as I already mentioned, it was Manchester United that went 2-0 up. And it's real quality from Fernandes to finish it. Fred little ball around the corner. But the root cause of this goal is Villa. They're trying to play out, which they are capable of. And it's a mistake and a giveaway. And they do get caught out high up the pitch. And Fernandes smashes that one in off the bar for his second goal. 67 minutes gone. You think all done. And 2 bad goals, actually, for Villa to concede. Let's use a different word rather than bad. 2 preventable goals for Villa to concede. And Villa fans will probably see that as some kind of weird positive that, look, cut those goals out and look at the rest of the game. And I know maybe it's a leap, but you're winning the game, aren't you? So here comes the comeback. And he's turning out to be a bit of a star, isn't he, Jacob Ramsey, in sort of a midfield 3 coming in from the left-hand side. We've got to give Mings some credit, the much maligned Mings sometimes. I know I get accused of being a Mings apologist because of the Ipswich scarf. Maybe. I try and leave my bias at the door, obviously. Really good dribble by him up the pitch, and you can see he's continued his run and pulled out into the space on the left-hand side. It's then worked into Ramsey, and touch and finish. Hits it really nice and early, as Jamie Redknapp was saying on the Sky coverage. Good goal, good player. Ramsey looks like they've got, you just want, wherever you find them, Premier League ready player, and Ramsey looks like that, doesn't he? Speaking of Premier League ready players, off the bench comes Phil Coutinho on 68. So he was on the pitch for the first goal, and he's certainly on the pitch for the second goal, because he's going to stick it into the net himself. You can see Ramsey a bit blurry on the left-hand side, sticks it across the box, and Coutinho taps home. And I'll go back to those words, Premier League ready, because a lot of excitement from the Villa fans, understandably, about Coutinho's arrival. Big name returning to the Premier League as well. Those that wanted to pick holes in it argued, is he the same player? And although sometimes people are just picking holes in it for the sake of it, or for whatever reason they want to pick holes in a signing, it's not an unreasonable argument. We don't know whether he'll be up to speed. He's certainly made a very, very good start, and he certainly looked a very happy chap in his post-match interview. 2-2, 81 minutes, that equaliser. Coutinho and Ramsey, goal and assist for the young midfielder as well. Brilliant stuff. Here are the numbers then. So read into this what you will. 55-45 to Villa on the possession. 13 shots apiece. 9-6 on target to Villa. 6 corners to 3 to Manchester United. 3 big chances to 2. On the XG, 1.89 to 1.28 to Villa. So, look, there's the numbers, and we can all interpret them how we see it. They're the type of numbers where I would almost lean on people who watch the game, because you can really read them a lot of ways. Transparency, I didn't watch the whole game. I've watched highlights and done some analysis afterwards. But, yeah, there's arguments pro-Villa. Do you know what? Let me phrase it this way. There's probably more pro-Villa arguments than pro-Manchester United arguments when you look at how the goals came in terms of a goalkeeper mistake and playing out for the back. Yes, we know Fernandes is a brilliant player, and he, and he'll get 2 goals against other teams when they're not perhaps maybe handing the chances on a bit of a silver platter. But what I would say, is that a viable point and good performance for Villa? Yes. Is it a viable point and good performance for Manchester United? Focus on the word viable. Probably not. No. There's some key numbers that go in Villa's favour. So I think what I'm saying is this is pretty good actually for Villa, and this can be built on, and we've now leaped from the Steven Gerrard start where he was winning all the games other than the ones against Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea, which he was losing. Okay, Manchester United aren't on their level, but it's a draw against a big boy. Lots to be positive about. Coming back, Ramsey, very positive. Coutinho gets the goal. Obviously, Villa fans are going to want wins and to move up towards halfway and hopefully top half in the table. But I think, without my dearly departed hat on my head, I think there's a fair amount to be positive here. So you get your comments in on that one. Are you as positive as me? Have I got it right? What are your thoughts, especially if you did watch all 90 minutes on the TV on Saturday night? Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 2. Next up, and it was Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. And don't worry, Brentford fans, I won't put you through too much pain. We had a good old think tank there about the Villa match and how to read the numbers and positives and negatives. It's a little bit more clear-cut with the Brentford game. They appear to be well beaten by Liverpool, as I say, champions Liverpool, former champions a couple of seasons ago. Liverpool, I wondered whether, after looking at that game Liverpool played against Arsenal, whether the absence of Salah and Mane could help, but no, a bit of a sense of men against boys. And I suppose this is the point where we shouldn't forget where Brentford have come from. This first season in the Premier League and they're going against the former champions here. So I will keep my expectations in check, but my disappointment is real here. There are the teams, and it is very, very strong for Liverpool. But of course, that clanging elephant in the room is the absence of the two African stars, Salah and Mane, who are off at the AFCON tournament at the moment. But still, look at the rest of the team. Alisson, Trent and Robertson, Van Dijk and Matip, Jones, Fabinho, Henderson. And the front three, you're just hoping from a Brentford point of view that it just doesn't calibrate, but it did. Jota, Firmino and Oxlade-Chamberlain. For the Bees, Fernandes still in goal with Raya out. Asia, Janssen and Pinnock. So it's the first choice back three. Henry back at full back and Roerslev the other side. That's been Canos in, I think, a lot of the best performances. Baptiste, Norgard, Janelt, Mbuemo and Tony. So close to full strength there. But remember earlier in the season that fine performance Brentford put up against Liverpool in the home game. They couldn't reprise it in the away game, sadly. Here is the opening goal, and very annoyingly comes right at the end of the first half, 44 minutes. And also annoyingly, it comes from a set play. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a fantastic ball deliverer, obviously sticks it in, and it's headed in at the back post by Fabinho. But I don't know. When you're going against one of the big boys, I suspect this is discussed amongst smaller sides playing away at Liverpool or Chelsea or Manchester City at the moment this season. Look, do all the basics, and if they're better than you, they're better than you. But when it's, and I know it's Trent, but when it's set plays, it's a bit frustrating, especially that close to half time. Although, look, I've just got the first half stats up, 74% possession, 12 shots to 2 already at that point, 6 corners to 0. Although I'm assuming they scored from the big chance. That was the only big chance of the half, but it did seem somewhat of an attack against defence game. Although I do recall Ivan Toney from distance putting one not far past, but it's hard to tell whether Alisson was leaving that one or it had beaten him if it was going in the corner. Here comes the second goal, and I think the thing we need to focus on is just the brilliance of the Liverpool fullbacks, isn't it? And okay, there's the brilliance of Salah and Mane that's not there, but the fullbacks turned up and both get assists for the first 2 goals. And it's such a good cross by Andy Robertson to find Oxlade-Chamberlain on the back post on 69 minutes. Look, he's just nicked there in front. It's blurry, but I think that is Rico Henry trying to get across on the cover, the left wing back. But he crosses it from so deep, Robertson. It's such a good assist. And 2-0, game over really. 8 minutes later, Minamino scores. And less said about this goal, the better, because I'm sure even all our Brentford subscribers will have had their heads in their hand for this one. It's a short goal kick, and let's be quite frank, let's not patronise Brentford. They've been doing this for years. I know you get a certain school of football fan that is very uncomfortable with short goal kicks and finds it very triggering and finds it very hard to cope that the ball is not, booted 60 yards down the pitch, David Seaman style, and got away from the goal. But they made an absolute mess of this, didn't they, Brentford? And let's not name names, but they get badly caught out. The ball ends up back with Firmino, and Minamino is able to just tap it into the net. And you can see Norgard, Janssen and Pinnock all a little bit, oh God, what have we done here? 3-0, very dominant from Liverpool. I suppose if you wanted to find some kind of positive, you would say a couple of the goals were handed to the Anfield team, weren't they, in terms of a set play goal, a header from a set play, and, that third goal. But all the numbers tell us, look, it just pulls apart in this game. 68% on the possession, 27 shots to 6, 13 shots on target, 9 corners to 0, 5 big chances to 0. And, oh God, look at that XG there in the shot map, 3.59 to 0.33. I often use the term viable. It's the most viable win you can imagine for Liverpool. But hey, that is not our focus here. Our focus is Brentford. Asia back in is good. Henry in the team is good. And Buemo and Tony up front. And I suppose if I'm putting the most positive spin on this possible, I sit here and I say it's Liverpool away. Brentford picked up, it was a point, wasn't it, in the home game against Liverpool, and is that bad? Do you know what I mean? Draw the home game, lose away. That's the deal with this top three at the moment, and move on. And there will be more important, more pertinent battles against rivals of more significance than Liverpool. Obviously, you don't want to lose games. You don't want to lose 3-0 to anybody. You don't want to concede 5 big chances and, 23 shots, or what's the right number? Someone will correct me. 27 shots. But there you go. Get your thoughts in on that. Are you kind of with me on the, okay, move on, men against boys? Are you allowed to say that in 2022? Apologies if I'm not allowed to say that. But men against boys this round. And, not really much else to take away from it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on Liverpool 3, Brentford 0. And in a dearly departed surprise, it was West Ham 2, Leeds United 3. Leeds looking far more like the Leeds of last season. I mean, look, they look the same. The playing style's the same, but the results very different this season. But Leeds go away to 4th place West Ham, who just beat them in the FA Cup. And it's a thrilling victory, a 3-2 win with a Jack Harrison hat-trick in particularly challenging circumstances, it has to say, with 2 players stepping out injured in the first half. And it was just classic Bielsa. I'm kind of smiling as I say it. It's just so entertaining to watch. So kamikaze and car crash at times, but you can't take your eyes off it, and Leeds got the win. And that's not me mocking the style in the slightest, because it has been very successful amongst all of those things, but the struggle this season has been very real, and Leeds still, without those key players that are probably one of the main reasons for the struggle. No Bamford in there, no Phillips, no Cooper, no Llorente, but this is the side that Leeds went with, and this is the side that was victorious. Meslier in goal. Dallas, well, he just plays where there's a hole, doesn't he? Right back this time. Firpo left back. Ayling has to cover at centre back, with Strauick, who was excellent against a very tricky opponent in Antonio, who doesn't have to be having a good game to give you trouble. He's beaten up on plenty better centre backs than Pascal Struijk, who was great in this game, wasn't he? Koch sits in front, Forshaw and Click, Harrison, the man of the match, Rafinha player, and Dan James up top. So far from Leeds' strongest 11, which would have Bamford, would have Phillips in, probably would have Llorente and or maybe both Cooper. I don't know. You tell me in the chat. Who cares? They didn't play and Leeds won. Strong West Ham 11, and West Ham are good, especially at home. Fabianski in goal, Soufal and Cresswell, Diop and Dawson, Lanzini and Rice. We should point out Souček is missing there, and he's a very good defensive central midfielder who gets forward and scores as well, doesn't he? Bowen, Fornals, Vlasic and Antonio. So one of our channel favourites, Ben Rama, not playing, but another of our channel favourites, Bowen, in very good form. And speaking of in very good form, here comes Jack Harrison for a fantastic hat-trick performance. Here's the opening goal, which he manages to force in. Forshaw has followed up the initial shot. You can see Forshaw on the left. He cuts it back to Harrison. Look, you can see that corridor, that angle that Harrison's going to fire that one through. I was a little bit worried that Rafinha throwing himself at it was going to be offside, but look, he's miles on when Harrison hits the ball. Left footer, and Leeds out West Ham here, because it was a real quick transition by Leeds, and Harrison sticks it in the corner of his left foot on 10 minutes, and that goal was not against the run of play at that point. Now, you think Leeds can't catch a break at this point. 22nd minute, Lewis Bate comes on for Forshaw, who I think I've seen an Instagram post today, not like a rip, tear, really bad hamstring problem, but a hamstring problem nonetheless. Firpo, the left back, goes out and Hjelde comes in. So if they're already without a couple of their best players, Leeds, out go another two players in this game, and in come Hjelde and Bate, who frankly are untried at Premier League level. So in they go to the system, and West Ham were the better side now, understandably, at this point. And look, we can pile in a little bit on Leeds because they're ultimately going to win the game, but Leeds defending from those Cresswell set plays with proper hide behind your sofa. There was one for Dawson that should have scored literally minutes before they do score through Bowen, and they can't say they weren't warned, and some disappointing defending from Leeds here. You can see Bowen there, 20 in the middle of the box, and the disappointing thing here is the previous corner that Dawson headed right was the same corner, dropped on exactly the same spot, and Stuart Dallas, Mr. Reliable, he knew because the camera went on him as he's laying on his back looking at the sky, but he just let Bowen go, didn't he? And Bowen heads in for 1-1, but back come Leeds, incredibly, and from their own set play here, Ailing has risen up, and Jack Harrison, just clever. He's the only one awake on the back post, and it's kind of like a striker, number 9, I don't know, Ian Rush type run at the back post. He just darts in there at the back. He's the only one who goes, and look, everybody is watching Jack Harrison. Look at the penalty box, literally everybody, and he kind of, I don't know, I think he puts it in with his thighs. He just kind of converts it in from on the goal line. It doesn't have to be anything other than a touch over the line. And Leeds go 2-1 up. Incredible stuff. West Ham start the second half well and get the equaliser. Really good goal, this, actually. Leeds just get caught out, and we talk about West Ham on transition. Ailing, I think, goes out to the right-back position. He's not playing right-back, remember, in this game. It gets given away down the line, and West Ham move it forward so quickly. It's poked through by Antonio. Fornals does really, really well. Works it inside from the left and drills it low to Mellier's right-hand side. Good goal, that, for 2-2. But this one is probably even better. And this is just the pattern of this game that you kind of, if you judge it on the league table, you're just expecting, right, West Ham, they keep getting level, and will they now move on and win the game? But Leeds just don't let them. And I have to say, from this period onwards, Leeds, they get the lead again, and pretty deserving, actually, after this point, I have to say. And it's a great goal. I really, really like this goal. That's Jack Harrison dinking the ball in over Fabianski, arriving onto it. It's on transition again. But watch it back and just watch how good Raphinha is in this, because there's so many moving parts for Raphinha to consider. The players turned around really quickly. I forget who feeds it through to, maybe Click, I don't know, pass. Fact check me on that one. It gets fed through to Raphinha, and now he's on the run with all the West Ham defenders retreating, midfielders piling to get back. Leeds players, you can see, trying to get forward in the box. Look, for God's sake, Dallas is up there, and James, maybe it was Dallas who fed it through to Raphinha, who knows. But Raphinha just so coolly plays this really gentle ball through into Harrison. And I remember thinking, my first instinct was, oh, has he underhit that pass? But it's so calm from Raphinha whilst everything else is moving at 100 miles an hour around him. And what it does is that pass kills the keeper as well. It means Fabianski has to come. It means Harrison doesn't need to take a touch. And all Harrison's doing as the ball's coming across is weighing up the keeper. And he knows he's favourite here, and he just has to get some lift on the shot. It's a great goal, really, really good counter-attack. Thereafter, Leeds could have gone onto 4-2 a couple of times. Raphinha, brilliant. I mean, he wasn't going to win man of the match today because of Harrison, but he was excellent. So was Strauch. Raphinha hits the bar from a set play. And I know a lot of people have got cross about the offside goal, but the shot's hit him by Click, and Rodrigo, he stood on the goal line, and he's got to get out the way, and he touches it, and it goes into the net. Look, take any other arguments aside, any arguments about refereeing consistency and decisions given against Leeds prior, fine, that's a different conversation. Any arguments about is the law correct, that's a different conversation. In isolation, I think even the most hardened Leeds fan would admit, look, they've got to disallow the goal, haven't they? If the ball touches, goes in off a player on the goal line, that's just the deal, isn't it? In terms of, I saw lots of stuff on Twitter. Did it affect the direction of the ball and all of this stuff? It doesn't matter. He touched the ball on the line, and that's the law as it's written in the moment. And yeah, we can have other conversations about refereeing consistency and is that law correct if the ball is obviously going in the goal, regardless of whether he touches it or not. That's not the law as it stands right now, and they were right to disallow the goal, in my humble opinion. And it didn't matter because Leeds go on and get a really, really good win. There's one more thing I need to mention, is that Jarrod Bowen should have equalised right at the end. I'm not saying, and people wildly misinterpret your comments on YouTube, so listen very carefully to what I'm saying. Jarrod Bowen should have equalised. I'm not saying, that's not me saying Leeds didn't deserve to win, or on the other hand, West Ham deserved to draw. I'm telling you what happened. It was 3-2 with Jarrod Bowen just got to head the ball in the goal, and for some inexplicable reason he chests it and it goes over the bar. So it really should have been 3-3 right at the end, but I don't know, would that have been a bit harsh on Leeds, who were thrilling and exciting and got the victory. And look, 53% possession, 18 shots, okay, 5 apiece. The one stat that you would worry about for Leeds in terms of this victory is, look, 4 big chances to West Ham to Leeds 3. And we know the 2 big missed chances that have bumped up that West Ham XG. Dawson should have scored the header in the first half, and Bowen is literally on the goal line. So, look, maybe Leeds fans will just accept that that's the deal with Bielsa. It is thrilling, it is exciting. They can lose every game, they can win every game. But yeah, that's the only worry in a brilliant performance, that had Dawson and Bowen scored the chances they should have scored, then maybe it would have been different. Although we can argue that had Rodrigo moved out the way an inch, had Raphinha's shot not unluckily hit the bar. And I hadn't mentioned as well, end of the first half, Dan James gets a bad first touch. He's clean through if he gets a good first touch on his right foot, and he's so quick you would make him favourite. So Leeds missed chances as well. And look, let's not get into the minutiae of who, why, where, for. What happened was, it was a thrilling game. Harrison was brilliant. Strauch was brilliant. Raphinha was brilliant. And it was a great watch and a great win from Leeds. And I'm smiling because I just enjoyed the game so much, and I enjoyed talking about it. And It's not been that fun at times this season talking about Leeds, and this is how it has been covering Leeds for the longest time on the channel under Bielsa. And I prefer it this way. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. West Ham 2, Leeds United 3. Onwards and upwards. I should say onwards and downwards with the way we do Dearly Departed. We do move down the table, and hopefully for, either of these two sides, it's not downwards is the trend for the rest of the season, because if Newcastle won, Watford won, and I think the general narrative around this game is that this damages Newcastle more than it does Watford, and given it was a late equaliser, this is probably no bad thing in terms of the Hornets in an absolutely vital, use whatever term you want to use whatever word, dramatic, important, vital, key, pivotal week this week, given Burnley, well, we think will go ahead. I'm recording on Monday, tomorrow night, and then Norwich on Friday as well. Watford could really define their season in the best way or the worst way this week, and they've started okay with a draw away from home. There's certain games, you want to win every game, but there's certain games just don't lose, and Watford did not lose. Up at Newcastle, who lined up with Dubravka in goal, England's Trippier, the new signing at right back, Lascelles, Shah and Dummett, Joe Linton, Shelvey, Longstaff, Fraser, St. Maximin and Wood up front. And this is the worry for particularly a couple of our dearly departed teams. At Watford, in particular is who I'm pointing the finger at here. The worry is Newcastle, if they do trend up, if their signings do make an impact, if Eddie Howe does make an impact, that they might be the one to suck Watford down into that bottom three. At the moment, that is not happening. Does that mean to say it might not happen later in the season? You tell me. Anyway, here is your Watford team. Foster in goal. Is that his return, or is it? No, I think he was back last week, wasn't he? He might have been back for a while, excuse me, can't remember. And Ngakia, Cathcart, and then two debutants here, Samir and Kamara, both come in the transfer window. It's been a pretty standard, basic narrative. Watford will sign some defenders in January. Watford need to sign some defenders in January. Straight into the team from Don Claudio. Another one there, look, Kayembe is a debutant as well with Sissoko and Kuchka in midfield. Emmanuel Dennis is not AFCON, and Watford fans won't be too disappointed about that. Ismail Assar is, of course, there, isn't he? Josh King and João Pedro are the front three for the Hornets. And it's a very good goal, I have to say, by Alain St. Maximin that gives Newcastle the lead. I don't know about you, but being completely dispassionate about this, I think St. Maximin, in terms of a dribbler, is just one of the most exciting players in the Premier League to watch, isn't he? He really just goes from 0 to 100 straight away, really changes direction quickly, and we've seen this before, and it's the classic Iain Robin paradigm, isn't it? Of what he's going to do, but it's very tricky to stop, especially if you don't want to concede penalties with a dribbler that good. This is into the second half. St. Maximin coming in from the left, darts inside, and he hits that shot. And again, the Watford players know where it's going. Foster knows where it's going, but he's on the move. He's darting and he drills it in low to Foster's right. And Newcastle lead. And again, and we've expected this for weeks now from Newcastle, you're then thinking, right, okay, is it liftoff? Are they going to go now? Are they going to go on a winning run? Are they going to go 2-3-0 up against Watford? By the way, the first half numbers leading up to that goal, Newcastle had 10 shots, but none on target. Watford had 9. So just a very, very big open game by the looks of it in the first half. Watford are going to push and push and push, and particularly for that last 15-20 minutes, the sense is Watford coming on to Newcastle rather than Newcastle pushing for 2-0. And then the psychology changes, doesn't it? Even if you have got the lead and you have got the money and you have got the couple of big new signings, the nerves kick in because Newcastle just have not been winning under Eddie Howe. I think it's 7 points from 9 games now, which is not going to keep them up unless we get, a really low tide down the bottom and the bottom 4 just lose all season. I don't see that happening. And Watford get the equaliser, and it's a very, very good goal as well. Slid down the right to Kiko Firmino, who you can't see. He's that far down in the corner, and he channels his inner David Beckham here on the run, hits the cross into the... It's a great ball by Firmino. And, of the players on the pitch, you would bank on Newcastle's Chris Wood scoring this goal. You certainly wouldn't bank on Watford's João Pedro scoring this goal. But the tricky Brazilian climbs above his man and powers the header in. Look at that for a climb as well. It's a great cross. It's a great goal. It goes to prove there's certain old school things in the game that will never go out of the game. And one of those is if you've got the defence moving back and you get a good cross in from wide, it's always easier for that attacker running onto it than it is for a defender watching the attacker and trying to stop the cross. It's old school, isn't it? But good delivery and good header still will score you goals in football in 2022. And Firmino and João Pedro certainly prove that. There are those numbers I was talking to you about. And there's very much a sense that Watford would have been hard done to if they hadn't have equalised. If say it had ended 1-0 with those numbers and we changed everything other than one goal in the Watford column, I would be sat here saying, they created stuff and, they've outdone them on the XG and all of that stuff and they haven't come away with anything and this does not bode well. It's amazing the difference that ball just dropping in the goal makes, isn't it, to how we now read these numbers. Because 18 shots to 12 in Watford's favour. Okay, 52-48. Nothing really in the possession fag paper there. 6 corners to 4. 2 big chances to 1. Look at the shot map as well and the XG. Watford outnumbering Newcastle on all of those things. And I think in the season, people are expecting Newcastle to power away from Watford because of whatever investment has happened and will come in the rest of the transfer window. And I think they expected that in microcosm in this game, and it just did not happen. And I'm sure there's plenty of Watford fans who are going to be hoping. I hope that's an omen. Newcastle looking or being expected to power away and not Watford coming strong there and getting that equaliser. We'll look at the table and analyse things properly. And obviously, this is going to change during the week. There's still some and ahhing about that Burnley game. Will it actually go ahead, given there was a cancellation at the weekend for Burnley? But huge week for Watford. I make that a good start, a viable performance. They haven't fluked a smash and grab at the end and just nicked a goal, have they? So I think some, in the words of Ian Jury, some reasons to be cheerful for Watford. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I doing my usual and over-egging it from the dearly departed point of view? Get your thoughts in the comments. Newcastle 1, Watford 1. Well, without making obvious reference to certain beer companies, this weekend couldn't have gone too much better for Norwich City. It was Norwich 2, Everton 1. And I have to say, from my point of view, and I think from the underlying mood I'm trying to read from Norwich fans, just a bit unexpected. I think the Norwich fans going into another weekend worried about possibly another defeat coming. And then all of a sudden, a nice quick start, get the pulses racing, a win comes, and then you look at some of the other results and postponements and you think, okay, interesting, very interesting. We've spoken for a while about the standard at the bottom of the table being rubbish, and Norwich fans will know better than most about that. And we've also said it won't take much in terms of 4 points in 2 games, or 5 points in 3 games, or 8 points in 6 games, or something like that. That will move the needle this season because nobody's been winning and nobody's really near the sort of point per game mark. And Norwich winning here actually makes a difference, especially when you consider their next game is against Watford. So it's amazing how quickly in a low-tide season where teams aren't scoring points, that narrative can change. And hopefully, for the sake of Norwich fans, they're going to be the ones that can take advantage and just put together a few games. That's all it's going to take, and someone will be a few points clear, and that might be all you need to be this season. Seems to be taking everyone down the bottom weeks to make up a few points, doesn't it? Here is your 11s. Krul in goal for Norwich. Aarons and Williams the fullbacks. Gibson and Hanley. Sargent and Rasica wide. Lees-Melou and Sørensen central. And Ida and Pukki up top. Norwich fans will let me know whether it was a proper 4-4 F2 or whether Ida, as we might have expected, may have dropped behind. I haven't looked at the heat maps. Does it matter? Does it matter how those 10 outfield players were configured? Norwich did indeed get the win. And the win was the last straw for Everton. They're going to fire Rafa Benitez after this game as well. Pickford in goal for them, the England keeper. Coleman and Mykolenko, new signing. We saw him for the Ukraine in the Euros, didn't we? Ben Godfrey, former Norwich player, and Michael Keane at centre-halves. Gordon and Gray wide. Doucouré and Gomez. Rondon and another England player, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The point I'm making is that Everton have a lot of good players, a lot of internationals, a lot of expensive players, and I guess after this run of, I think, 9 defeats in 12 or something for Everton, you can see why their higher-ups expected more of a return from Rafa the Gaffer and why he is gone. And here begins the last straw. And look, from Rafa's point of view, you know when you turn up to work and this happens pretty soon into the game. I think it was like a quarter of an hour in. The cross comes in from the right-hand side. You can see Sargent out there on the wing. And Michael Keane slides it into his own net. 16 minutes for this one. And I think, is that Ben Godfrey running in behind him, presumably telling him, don't touch that. He feels he needs to play it. It's not great, is it? Sometimes we see crosses that get knocked into the own net and you think, oh, that was impossible. What the hell else was he meant to do? Unless he pulls out some Spider-Man clearance or something. This one, you kind of think, what are you doing? You're wrong place, wrong time, wrong execution with that. But Norwich fans will not care. And this is the key now. And I said this a few weeks ago. Teams that stay up take advantage of a good circumstance when it's in their favour. You're going to lose most weeks if you're down there in the bottom 3, bottom 4, etc. But when the chance comes, when you meet beleaguered manager struggling and all is not well at club, and when you've gone 1-0 up from an own goal, score again 2 minutes later, and Norwich managed to do it. And that's the key to staying up. Play the circumstances. When it works in your favour, when the opponents are beleaguered or they've got injuries or they get a red card or what have you, take advantage. And Norwich grab the ball by the horns here and go 2-0 up straight away. And it's really, really good from the low-knee fullback, Williams. The ball turns over and he drives down the pitch. And Norwich get on the counter. And it's always that situation. You know that silly saying, you're most vulnerable when you've just scored a goal? Well, there is some sense in that because you can see Everton have just conceded and they're like, right, come on, let's get forward. And they leave themselves really open. It's really good from Williams, but it's just 2 minutes Michael Keane is going to want to forget. Because I watched this back a few times because you're kind of looking and you're thinking, oh, okay, I can see Pukki and I can see Ida running through. How have they managed to not have him covered? And I think Keane is just in a bit of a daze after conceding the own goal. And he really shouldn't be in a position to be bypassed. Give Williams some credit. Give Ida for making the obvious run into the box. And he then pokes it into the back of the net. And it's 2-0 to Norwich on 18 minutes. And all of a sudden, just that second goal makes so much difference, doesn't it? Because Norwich have been losing. Get in front and you think, one goal, they're going to be nervous, aren't they? But 2 goals, the extra confidence that will have given Norwich is immeasurable. And it immediately goes from a shaky team that's losing all the time, worrying about a 1-goal lead to, okay, bed in now, 2-0 up. They've got to do a lot to get back into this. And from a Norwich point of view, it can be, right, we can be a bit more comfortable, a bit more relaxed here than certainly it would have been with a 1-goal lead. But they are going to pull one back in the second half on 60 minutes. And it's probably the best goal of the game, actually. Really good goal by Richarlison, because there is a man on the line. I think, is that Ben Gibson? I think it is. And you would think any type of overhead kick like that, Gibson's going to be able to get across and get his body in the way or header it away. But it's so good from Richarlison, who's another good Everton player who's come off the bench. They really are underperforming so badly, aren't they, Everton, given their squad. Really, really good goal from Richarlison. But, and I'm sure Norwich fans will probably actually be quite happy that Everton did get it back to 2-1 and did have a bit of a push towards the end of the game, because Norwich showing character and defensive resolve that, let's be bluntly honest, they just haven't shown all season, have they? And I think if you ask Norwich fans, they haven't shown the last times they've really been in the Premier League. And I'll repeat myself, this ability to work the circumstances in your favour, and then these simple things like fight, desire, defending a 1-goal lead, getting your home stadium up and getting a win. They showed all of those in this game, and that bodes well for Norwich. And yes, this is the same Norwich that have been really bad for the last few weeks, but I reiterate, it's a low tide down there. Nobody is winning any games. Burnley have just sold their best striker. Newcastle can't win. Watford are on the edges of it. Someone score some points and you'll stay up. It's that obvious, isn't it, to me? There are the numbers. Look, it's a quick bang bang at the start of the game. Norwich only 3 shots on target, fine. Scored through an own goal. Whatever, 60-40 to Everton. But look at, there's one really important stat there that Norwich will like, and I'm sure you can all see it. Everton, big chances, 0. And that's been key for Norwich. The ability, even when they're up against it, to just defend well, keep a clean sheet, don't concede chances. The goal they conceded was the overhead kick, for goodness sake. So look at the XG, 1.41 to 0.88. I use the term a lot. That's a viable win for me. Okay, there's an own goal, but they really use the circumstances in their favour, Norwich. And everything changes on that one good weekend. And if they can if they could go to Watford and win, Norwich all of a sudden, regardless of how much money Newcastle have got and how experienced Claudio Ranieri is and how Burnley always get out of it, Norwich will then become in the box seat in pole position to stay up. And who the hell would have thought we would have been saying that when Arsenal were battering them, and then Crystal Palace and, you know, whoever else it's been recently. So an interesting potential sea change if Norwich can grab the initiative now and run with this whilst everyone else is in a bit of a daze. Let me know your thoughts on all of that, and a very good weekend for Norwich. Norwich 2, Everton 1. Right, there we go. That's our show. Let's have a look at the table on a good weekend. Brentford aside, I apologise to Brentford fans, but on a good weekend for the dearly departed. So Villa are our highest ranked team there in 13th. Okay, they've had back-to-back defeats. Draw now, but lots of positives in the 2-2 against Manchester United. Ramsey, Coutinho, comeback, all of that good stuff. Brentford, 4 defeats in 5. Worrying trend. Good number of points on the board, 23 from 21. We're saying about Brentford, get another 10 points, 12 points. They're probably safe, aren't they? But throw us a win in there, Brentford. That'll be a fine thing. Leeds, brilliant. Back-to-back wins, and just the nature of the victory as well. It was very Leeds, wasn't it? At West Ham. Great stuff. Great to watch as well. Watford still on the edges. 14 points from 19 games is not probably going to be enough. Someone's got to push past this dreadful points per game tally at the bottom. But the key thing for Watford, they didn't lose, and both Watford and Norwich are going to have that game on Friday circled on the calendar, aren't they? And there are Norwich down in 18th spot. With a win making all the difference. And again, okay, they've played more games than everybody else. They've lost more games than anybody else. But if Norwich beat Watford on Friday night, they will be on to 16 points and they will be 2 clear of Watford, 4 clear of Newcastle, 5 clear of Burnley. This is under the assumption that the Burnley and Watford game will get cancelled tomorrow night. We don't know yet, but there's strong hints that it will do. And there you go, just ran that down your throat. There are the next round of fixtures. So Watford Norwich is huge. Everton Villa might be a good time for Villa to be going to Everton. They may have a new manager in by then, but certainly all is not well there. Brentford Wolves. I think Brentford might play midweek. Does it play Manchester United? I think they're playing midweek as well. Brentford, don't they? These are just around 24 fixtures. Leeds versus Newcastle. Leeds will have that one circled as a potential winner, won't they? So keep an eye on that. Could be a third straight win for Leeds. That is our round 23 review. Don't know why you need to see a picture of me there. I think that's last week's artwork. Managed to sneak in the slideshow somehow. Thank you everybody for watching. We do need to click on Simon one more time. Simon Hoyle is our fan sponsor over on Patreon. Thank you again, Simon, for your support. Thank you everybody for watching. Please hit thumbs up. Please hit the like button. That's the same thing, thumbs up, like button. What do I mean? I mean hit the subscribe button. We are 20,300 subscribers on the channel. If you're new around here, videos every week on our 5 dearly departed clubs. I hope you enjoyed, and please get your comments in the chat. We want to hear your opinions on all of those games. Thank you everybody for watching, and it's a lovely big over now from me.